Our story begins in Manuha, a village near Jericho. Gitlam is a legendary hunter and chief of Manuha, along with his wife Arisha. Ludari is the heir of Manuha and son of Ina, the goddess of fertility. To show that he is worthy of being chief, he must prove himself. One day, an opportunity presents itself when a villager approaches Gitlam with an urgent issue.
O great Chief Gitlam, the farmers are in need of your counsel. There has not been water for weeks. Women are not able to grow crops, and men are not able to find animals to hunt or domesticate.
Has new land been slashed and burned?
We are too late for that. If we don't solve this, we will all starve.
Ludari listens to the conversation and realizes that this was the way to show the village that he was worthy of being their chief. So he seeks the counsel of his mother, Ina. Using Inkara, a magical spear gifted by Ina, he summons her.
O mother, hear me and answer my cry for assistance. Grant us an answer for this dreadful disaster that has befallen our village.
My child, it is time for you to take your place. You are to travel great distances to the magical forest, and if you prove that you are worthy, the solution will appear before you.
With this, Ina vanishes the same way she arrived. Ludari, confused as to his mother's instructions, seeks the counsel of his closest companion, Kuli.
My dear friend, what brings you here on this fateful day?
I've come to ask you for guidance on a journey I am to go on. The goddess Ina has instructed me to travel to the magical forest and return water to our lands.
I would be honored to accompany you.
Next, Ludari sets off to inform his wife Kashana of his mission. When he reaches her, she is sitting weaving baskets to sell at the market the next day. He begins to sharpen his bone tools while telling her about his upcoming journey.
My love, I must leave you soon.
Why must you depart from me and our unborn child, Orma?
I shall only be gone for a brief time. I have been chosen to restore our village's water.
Very well, come back to us swiftly.
While Ludari continues preparing for the journey, Urabara, the god of chaos, having heard of Ludari's upcoming departure, decides to pay Manuha a visit. There he seeks out Kuli.
Greetings, young man. I'm Urabara, the great god of chaos.
O great God, what do you request of me?
Take this poison fig and give it to Ludari.
O great and mighty God, how can you ask this of me? Please reconsider. If Ludari has done something wrong, I shall take his punishment.
It is not your time to die yet. However, if you refuse to, I will kill his unborn child.
That child is the future of our village. I cannot let any harm befall it. I shall complete your task if you promise to leave our village and never return.
Very well. Do not disappoint me.
Urabara hands Kuli a poisonous fig and disappears. Kuli slips into Ludari's room and places a poisoned fig next to Ludari's bed. Soon after, Arisha enters his room. Arisha is holding a beautiful Venus figurine to give to Ludari for his journey. She sets down the figurine, and as she is about to leave, she sees the fig. Just as Ludari enters the room, she takes a bite of it and immediately falls to the ground, dead. All the while, Urabara watches the scene play out and is enraged that his plan fails. He goes and confronts Kuli.
You useless mortals are all the same. I gave you a simple task and you couldn't do it. Now I shall kill your entire village.
I gave the poison fig to Ludari as you requested. You never said I had to make sure he ate it, so you must hold up your end of the bargain.
You think you're cunning, but remember, I'm a god and you will regret this.
Urabara decides to take matters into his own hands. He thinks that blaming Kuli for Arisha's death might cause Ludari so much grief he would give up on his journey. As Ludari is about to meet with Kuli and leave for his journey, Urabara catches him.
Ludari, I have information on the death of Ursha. Yesterday, I saw Kuli talking to the chief of the neighboring village. Then I saw him going into your room holding what looked like the poison fig that killed your mother. I think he was conspiring with the other chief to kill you and take your position. Ursha ate the poison fig that was meant for you.
That cannot be the truth. Kuli's my dearest friend. He would never betray me like that.
What reason would I have to lie to you? I'm telling you what I've seen with my own eyes.
Confronting Kuli now is not an option. I must start my journey immediately. Our village is not running out of time. I shall deal with the traitor when I come back.
Urabara's plan to try and stop Ludari once again doesn't work. But as soon as Ludari sets off, storms start to plague his journey as a punishment for the wrongful grudge he has against his friend Kuli, and as a reminder that while he is getting raped, his village was dying.
Oh, how these storms remind me of the lack of water back at home and make my journey harder than it needed to be. Oh, Venus figurine, guide me through this obstacle and show me a solution.
Ludari prays to his mother to help him, and suddenly the storm intensifies, and a huge bolt of lightning strikes the ground, ripping a hole in front of Ludari. He falls down the hole, and it leads him to the Mazi, or underworld. He's about to face the next obstacle of his journey. In this obstacle, Ludari will learn forgiveness and perseverance. At the gates of the Mazi, a giant owl is waiting for him.
Greetings, my name is Isabu, and I'm the messenger of death. Your mother has sent me here to be your guide.
Greetings, O great Esibu. Where have I arrived?
You are in Mazi, the land of the spirits, and I shall take you to our king, Hurin.
Esebu opens the gates of the Mazi, and together Ludari and Esebu enter.
This is Agni, the first plane of the Mazi. It is filled with burning spirits that have unfinished business. Do not try to help them. You are powerless here.
While they are walking, Ludari hears a familiar voice calling his name. He follows the voice and it leads him to Kuli.
Kuli, my friend, why are you here in this wretched place?
I am here because of you. Your wrongful hate has held me here, and it is what has caused those storms that have plagued your journey. I cannot fathom the betrayal you must feel, but understand that Orma's life was in danger if I had not intervened. That wretched viper would have killed him.
I have misjudged you, my friend. Urubara has made fools of both of us.
Ludari realizes that all actions, even small ones, have consequences, but he understands that there is no use in grieving of the past and looks to the future instead.
Do not despair, my friend. I will travel to the Mazi, to the Hurrian and the Vulture King, and demand that you are freed.
With that promise, Esebu and Ludari continue walking through the Agni. As they're nearing the gates to Hurin's throne room, Ludari suddenly remembers Arisha.
Esebu, will I be able to find Orisha here?
Yes, we shall visit Irisha, but there is someone else waiting for you here too.
Esebu takes Ludari to see Arisha. Her attachment to the living world was her regret of not being able to say goodbye to Ludari.
Ludari, is it really you, or do my eyes deceive me? How have you come here?
It is really me, Orisha. I have come to say goodbye.
Ludari, it gives me so much joy to see you one last time. Remember all I have taught you. I am grateful that I was given one last chance. Thank you for freeing me.
Arisha's spirit leaves the Agni, but Ludari remembers that there is still one more spirit that he has to help.
Esebu, whose spirit do I still need to meet?
You shall know soon, Ludari.
Esebu takes Ludari to his wife. Ludari is devastated when he learns that Gashana has died and Katevla is giving up his journey, but his wife reminds him that Urma, his son, is still alive and that Ludari must complete the journey for him.
Do not leave our son to death, Ludari. This is my last request.
With those final words, Gashana also disappears from the Agni.
Then I shall finish this journey for my family.
Ludari, this is where my journey ends. You must meet her and on your own.
Very well, Esebu, may we meet again.
The last obstacle Ludari has to face is Hurin the Vulture King. Hurin gives Ludari two challenges. The first challenge was to tame Hurin's wild bull, and the second one was to track down and catch Hurin's daughter. The wild bull was actually Hurin in disguise, and Hurin's daughter was Time. In taming death and catching Time, Ludari shows that he is worthy of the quest. In exchange, Hurin grants him two wishes. Ludari asks for Kuli's soul to be freed and for safe passage back to the living world. Once he is back in the living world, he continues on and realizes that the storms that had plagued him before let go of him the same way he let go of his wrongful grudge against his friend. Soon, he finds himself in front of the magical forest that Ina had told him about. In the next couple of days, Ludari begins to hunt and prepare for the rest of the journey. One day, while hunting in his disguise, he catches a stag. However, he feels pity for it and lets it go. Expecting the stag to run away, Ludari turns to leave, but instead he hears the stag speaking.
Greetings, Ludari. I am Sagar. I am here on the behest of Goddess Ina to guide you.
With the help of you and the magic spirit, I am confident I will succeed.
Suddenly, Urubara, who is spying on them, appears.
I challenge you, Ludari, son of Ina, to a fight.
It is you who turned my best friend against me, and you are responsible for Risha's death, you cruel, crooked viper. However, now I'll be the one responsible for your death.
Why, yes, it is I who did both those things. However, you will not be able to kill me.
Ludari fights Urubara with his stone tools and magical spear for hours. Finally, Ludari hits his magical spear to the ground, cracking it open. He pushes Urubara into the Mazi and banishes him there forever. Ludari and Sagar continue on with their journey, but as they are about to exit the forest, they see an old woman sitting under a tree surrounded by Venus figurines. Ludari goes up to the old woman to ask if she needs any help. To this, the old woman says that she will tell him how to end the drought if he kills Sagar. Ludari refuses to, and suddenly the woman transforms into Ina.
Greetings, my child. That was a test for you, and you have successfully passed.
Greetings, mother. Please tell me how I shall retrieve water to save my village.
You have successfully completed your journey. There is one last step that needs to be done. You must sacrifice yourself, and with your blood, I can build a fountain here in this magical forest that will ensure your village, Manuhat, will never suffer through another drought.
Dear mother, I'll need some time to make a decision.
Very well, my child.
Conflicted, Ludari goes to consult Sagar on what he should do. To this, Sagar replies,
Dear Ludari, you have worked long and hard for this, and even though it is ultimately your decision, my advice is to think of the hardships that you have faced throughout this journey and about the promises you have made.
Ludari ends up putting much time into deciding what he should do. After a few hours, with his final decision in hand, he goes to Ina.
Dear Mother, after much thought, I've come to a final decision. When I started my journey, I promised my parents and villagers that I wouldn't return empty-handed, and I would have a solution for the drought. Therefore, it is my duty to sacrifice myself to bring a source of water to my village.
My son, you have made the right decision.
Ina begins the ritual and uses Ludari's blood to make a magical fountain with her powers. In the village, it begins to rain, and the crops start to grow again.
My son Ludari did it. He was able to bring water to the village and end the drought.
Suddenly, Ina appears in front of Gitlam.
Chief Gitlam, you are correct. However, Ludari had to sacrifice himself so that your village will never suffer from another drought. With Ludari dead, the responsibility of Irma, my grandson, falls to you.
Ludari was happily reunited with his loved ones in the Mazi and given a high place due to having saved Manuhat. Some years later, Manuhat becomes a prosperous village with bountiful harvests. Their prosperity results in the rise of metallurgy of copper, and Manuhat never experienced a drought again.